Hey y'all, I'm Ivy Odom, a test kitchen professional in the Southern Living Test Kitchen, and this is What's Cooking with Southern Living. Southerners have long had a love affair with sweets, especially our cakes. One of these treasured cakes, quintessential in the South, is the pound cake. I am so excited to delve into the history of pound cake with y'all today and bake up our $1 million pound cake. Let's get to baking. We have butter, eggs, sugar, and flour. These were the essential 4 ingredients to make any pound cake. That's how it's been for forever and how we are going to base our recipe today. So I am using a pound of butter today, very softened. It's been sitting at room temperature. I am going to be creaming it in my mixer with the sugar until it is very light and fluffy, which is going to take several minutes on about medium speed in the mixer. What this does is that it incorporates air into the butter and the sugar, which allows for the cake to have a very tender and light crumb, and the air causes the cake to rise in the oven. The very first recipes for pound cake have roots in France and also in England. We think that the British kind of took the technique that the French were using, and there's a very fancy French name for it. It basically translates to 4/4 because it was equal parts of each, 1/4 of the eggs, 1/4 sugar, 1/4 butter, and 1/4 flour. The English took that name in French that translated to 4/4, and they took it to mean that each of the ingredients weighed about a pound to mix them all together, and so therefore we get the name pound cake because all of the ingredients weighed a pound. I've got my mixer on about medium speed, and I'm going to beat it for several minutes until the butter has changed color. It's going to be a very pale yellow, and the mixture is going to be light and fluffy. Okay, you can see that it is very light and fluffy. It almost looks broken and kind of curdled, and that's totally fine. I'm going to scrape the sides and clean off my paddle attachments, and then I can start beating in my eggs. I'm going to beat them in one at a time. Just after the dark yellow color of the yolk sort of disappears into the batter, it's time to add the next egg. I also like to crack my eggs individually in a separate bowl to make sure I don't get any shell or that the egg is bad, and I don't want to put that in my batter. So I crack it in a small bowl and then add it to my batter. Now it is time to incorporate my flour and my milk. So I've already gone over that traditional pound cake recipes only included really 4 basic ingredients. This recipe includes milk, which is not a traditional pound cake recipe, but over time we have kind of developed a new taste and desire for a lot more tender and moist cakes than people really had the taste for or really the capability of making way back in the 17 and 1800s when these cakes originated. This recipe for our $1 million pound cake, people swear by it and love the addition of milk in this recipe. So I'm gonna start with about half of this flour mixture, then add in all of my milk, mix it really well, and then add in the rest of my flour mixture. Alternating it just kind of helps the flour and milk get incorporated into the batter in a more delicate and gradual way and makes it a little bit easier on the batter. This is a very thick batter, so you definitely want to make sure you're scraping often as you go. And the last 2 ingredients that I'm going to add are vanilla and almond extracts. The great thing about pound cakes is you can flavor them however you like. You could add in some other spices, some different flavorings. It's kind of up to personal preference. Okay, our batter is ready to go, and I am going to put it in a 10-inch tube pan. If you're not familiar with the tube pan, the hole in the middle is actually to help create even heat throughout the cooking process. Unlike a bundt pan, it doesn't have the decorative sides. So before I transfer my batter into this tube pan, I am going to grease and flour it with Crisco. You could easily use butter if you don't keep Crisco on hand, but I don't really know a single cook in the South that does not keep Crisco on hand. And to flour it, what you do is just sprinkle a little bit of flour kind of throughout the pan, and then you just give it a good tap. And the flour will stick to your Crisco or butter, whatever you're using. You just want to make sure that it sticks to all of the edges. And this helps prevent it from sticking to the pan. Make sure you get it on the center portion as well. This thing is well greased and floured and ready for my batter to go in. I like to spoon it in evenly with my spatula. Pound cake recipes, y'all, are near and dear to my heart. Very first recipe that I ever really remember that sparked my interest and love of cooking was a pound cake, and the rest is history. I have been baking ever since. After you get the batter kind of smoothed out in your tube pan, then you want to kind of hit it on the counter like this to get the air bubbles out. Most cakes bake at 350 or 375. Pound cakes, though, bake for a little bit longer than most other cakes. So I'm going to bake at 300 degrees for about an hour and a half, but I'll check it after about an hour and 15 minutes. While the cake is baking in the oven, I have a lot of time, so I'm going to check on those comments from the What's Cooking Facebook group, and I cannot wait to read them. Debbie Bolding says, a fun Southern 75th birthday celebration for my Aunt Martha with a chocolate pound cake. I use the $1 Million Pound Cake recipe and then tweak for special treats like chocolate, pecans, cream cheese, peaches, etc. I love all of those stir-ins to a pound cake. I also just love to make the pound cake plain and serve it with different toppings. Georgia Duncan says, my second time making $1 Million Pound Cake, and I find it most interesting that the top puffs up and becomes crispy. I can't post a picture of the crispy top because it's all gone. What can I say? This was too good to pass up. Amen, Georgia. Traditionally, pound cakes are served upside down because it is a prettier presentation. The top of the cake gets crispy and crumbly. It falls off whenever you flip it over anyway, and that is my favorite part about a pound cake. I can smell the pound cake and it smells so good. And you know when you can start smelling it, it's just about ready. It is gorgeous. Crumbly, crispy top that I cannot wait to dig into. I need to let it cool for about 10 to 15 minutes before I can flip it. This is why people don't know that this exists, because everyone always eats it before they serve it. It is so good. You can just peel off the parts that are a little bit loose, because lo and behold, as soon as you flip the cake, it's gonna come loose in the end. So you might as well just eat the things and not have them fall off your cake. So I'm going to flip it. Moment of truth. I love a big reveal of a cake. So pretty. It is golden brown and evenly crisp. It is a showstopper, even just on the wire rack. I'm gonna garnish it with whipped cream and strawberries after it is cooled completely. My personal favorite way to eat a pound cake. Okay, y'all, long awaited 2 hours. This cake is cool enough to slice into, so I'm gonna put it on a cake stand. It is going to be the crown jewel of any sideboard. It's just so simple and beautiful and exactly what our grandmothers did and their grandmothers made. And I think that in and of itself is just as pretty as a layered cake. It's just so pretty and a classic way to serve pound cake. I cannot wait to dig in. I want a bite of pound cake, some whipped cream, and some strawberry. It is perfect. This humble pound cake might not be the prettiest of all the Southern storied layer cakes, but it sure is delicious and really rises to any occasion for any celebration. I hope that this class has inspired you to make a $1 Million Pound Cake for yourself.